My name is Fiza Siddiqui, and this is my submission for the art creation puppet making for the course Intro to Art and Creative Education, submitted in June 2023 to my facilitator, PhD candidate, Miss Loanine Palmer Carroll. So to begin, I gathered my supplies, which include 2 plastic spoons, a paper towel roll, old used socks, cardboard, and 2 plastic spoons, as well as some shreds of paper to use for the hair. Right now I'm feeling anxious because I have never made a puppet like this before, so I'm hoping the end result is satisfactory. So to make the mouth plate, I start with a piece of cardboard. Next, I draw creases down the center and fold the cardboard in half. Next, I draw a partial circle, which will be the mouthpiece, and then I cut that out. This is the completed mouthpiece. Next, I cut the toilet paper roll to make the head structure, the size that I'd like, which is from the puppet's lips to the top of its head. Next, I cut out openings at the front and back of the tube, big enough for 2 of my fingers to control the puppet. Next, I cut off the tips of 2 plastic spoons to make the ear structures, and this is the completed form. So looking back at this, if I were to make this puppet again, I would cut the tips of the spoons larger so that they'd be more prominent through the sock. I felt that the finished product, they weren't showing as well. It wasn't as obvious that there were ears for this puppet. Next, I slid the assembly over the sock, aligning the mount plate with the heel of the sock. So I'm in the middle of moving, and so I was limited on supplies, and initially planned on using, I didn't have red paper, so I was going to cut this paper and color it red, but instead I used this plastic bag, which was red, and cut that as the mouthpiece, as seen here. And then I drew the back of the mouth here with black marker. So for the eyes, I used the spoons and then black paper for the inners of the eyes. And then I attached the hair on top. When I was looking at the puppet now, I thought to myself, the eyes are appearing slightly too big. So when I was looking at the puppet, I thought, okay, I'll adjust the eyes to be slightly smaller. So now I've trimmed down the size of the eyes, and now I'm just seeing how it looks now. I thought it looked a little bit better. And then I added the teeth, and this is my completed puppet. So I named the puppet Neomi because the city I'm living in right now is Neom, and so I just took the name from the city itself. And looking back, some things I would have done differently. I am in the middle of moving, and so many of my supplies were packed away, and school has already ended. So I think in retrospect, the puppet would have been a little bit cleaner, as I would have used a glue gun instead of tape. And I think I would have also used a longer sock. In terms of how I could, and to answer how I was feeling while I was making the puppet, I was really excited to have thought how the students would have welcomed the puppet had my students still been in school. I think they would have been excited to see this puppet, because I know the puppets we presently have in the class, they absolutely love puppet play, my current students. How could I use the puppet in my classroom for students to express their emotions? So I think I would begin by introducing the puppet to my students and allowing them to name the puppet. And perhaps after a few suggestions, we could have a vote for the name. And then I would explain to the students that the puppet is there to help them express their feelings in a safe and non-threatening way. I would use the puppet to model different emotions such as happiness, sadness, anger, excitement, and confusion. And I would encourage students to participate in puppet play, which I already have been doing, but also using this puppet and to talk about their own feelings or act out different scenarios that involve their emotions. So, for example, if a student's feeling sad, they could use the puppet to express their sadness and talk about why they're feeling that way. Similarly, if a student's angry, they could use the puppet to act out their anger in a safe and controlled way. I do have a number of students that visit a sensory room in our center for social and emotional development. So they visit that room with our SEND teacher, and the puppets could be an extension to that development. Finally, I would really look forward to having puppet creations as an activity for the students to engage in and create their own puppets. I think that would be a really engaging and special activity for my students that are in grade 1.